evening, dear viewers, and welcome to yet another episode of Ask the CEO here on Church of Uganda Family TV. My name is Apollo Sabiiti, your host, and this happens every Thursday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. If you are joining us for the first time, Ask the CEO brings you a host of executives from all walks of life. People who have made it to the top, who we believe their stories have a thing or two to shed light into your life. It might not be you, but someone who depends on you, or even your children, your nieces, or even yourself. And so, thank you so much for joining us this evening. This program will be coming live every Thursday once again from 8 to 9 p.m. Now, today, I'm so privileged to have an amazing gentleman who has amassed over 20 years of experience in the financial industry. His name is Michael. We will be hearing from him right after the break. This is Ask the CEO. We seek to change lives by listening to stories just like this one. We'll be right back after the break. All right, welcome back from that short break. Once again, this is Ask the CEO. We bring you top managers, executives, people from all faculties of life. And the aim is that you might pick something from their stories. There is one thing that you will find very consistent with all the guests that we bring you on this show, and that is their story. Stories just like Michael's that start from mere hope and faith, and after a while they turn into stories of decorated tables of grace at the helm of life. Today, like I said earlier, our guest is Mr. Michael, and like we said earlier, he's been in the banking, the financial industry for over 20 years. Now, this does not mean that you have got to be interested in the banking industry for you to pick inspiration today. We'll definitely, with no shadow of a doubt, be having many more things outside the financial industry that will be of huge gain to you. We turn the guns to Mukulu Michael. I must say it is a huge pleasure as well as a privilege for me to share in your space tonight. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thanks, Apollo. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Good to have you on the show. And to someone who is watching, Ask the CEO probably for the first time, we will have Mr. Michael introduce himself in caps, like they say, in bold. Who is he? I know he's a graduate from Makerere, the Ivory Tower. He has an MBA from Brooks, I think. Could you kindly tell us more about yourself so that the viewer can have this energy rubbing off even as we kickstart today's show?
Good evening, viewers. I'm very honored to be part of this show. Apollo, thank you very much for inviting me. You've heard my name is Michael Segwaya, born about 45 years ago to a mother who has since moved on to be with the Lord, but she was quite entrepreneurial in nature. My father is still around. I am honored to be married. I've been married for the last 18 years. We've got two children, boy and girl, 11 and 16 years of age. And I'm really happy that I am here on the show. And it's such an inspiration just to hear my journey. I think as part of the introduction, as I've said, I was really born around town. Grew up on Uganda Road. Did a few stints in Kabanyoro farm, so the farming part of me came around. My mother used to bake, and that also gave me some inspiration. I did all kinds of things growing up, from baking to looking after all kinds of animals. And you probably will see that as we go along in the interview. So it has been a journey of learning, a journey of, they call it hustle nowadays.
Yeah.
So yes, it was a hustle. Uh, by the grace of God, from Uganda Road Primary School, I went to King's College Budo. King's College Budo. Uh, there, I also got to know my position in life, coming from not a um, what do
family,
a well-to-do
humble
family.
background.
I still remember this particular time I had run out of shoes, and my mom comes, all the way from Masaka Road. She's footing with a chikapu all the way to King's College. And lo and behold, this big
Dear.
visitation, I have told her I don't have shoes.
Mm.
And she showed up with very nice plastic shoes. And you know what plastic shoes do
On
on
a
a
hot,
hot sunny day?
oh,
Trust me, I had a roll call which was quite interesting.
yeah.
So that's where the Lord has come and taken me and brought me from that far. As part of that, because we are baking, I used to also bring cookies that I traded for things like milk, for things like sugar, bushera. So that's how I managed to keep afloat in terms. So it is very good
Yeah.
background in terms of school. So yeah, it's been. So subsequently, I moved on. Went to Makerere High, then later joined Makerere University. So as I was joining Makerere University, um, I realized I needed to have some pocket money on me.
Yeah.
And I read in the newspaper that time that there were people selling mushrooms. And I decided to try it out. We used to stay in Imperere then. So I ventured into doing mushrooms. And every 6 o'clock in the morning,
That's farming or
farming mushrooms.
wow.
Every morning I had to go and pick mushrooms, and I supplied Domino's Pizza. For those who know, they have since subsequently closed, and the owner Raj became a very good friend of mine. I supplied him mushrooms for 5 years, all my campus life. And what did that mean? I had 8,000 shillings on me, 1995, 8,000 shillings every day. Trust me, I got tired of the chips and chicken in one day gear, and life was quite good.
So by the time Chicken Tonight came to life, you had enough of the chicken.
Chicken Tonight, there's so many other chips, chippers. We had chippers, ice
At the
cream
time.
up there at that time. So those were the places we used to hang out, but it was quite some hard sweat coming out of there. And that's how we managed to make it in life, and cover ourselves. So it was quite gracious. I think the other thing I want to note that my campus at the time, that is when I also found Christ. I gave my life to Jesus Christ at campus after a bit of touring of Kampala. But yes, I got to give my life to Jesus Christ at the tomb of a friend of mine who had died. We had been together in school, and yeah, it was an opportunity that God met me. So that's where I start my banking subsequently after university.
Oh, great. If you are just joining us, or you probably joined us after he had introduced himself, his name is Michael. Very humble man, by the way. Sometimes doesn't want to pull out titles, but I'm telling you, words cannot express the symbolism of who we are sharing space with. He is the executive director at Absa Uganda, also the CFO. So we're talking uh, people who are at the helm of the circular flow of income here in the Ugandan capital, Kampala. Michael, Tell us about how you transit from commerce. I know that little bit about your background at the Ivory Tower, and then slotting in seamlessly into the financial world.
So purely by the grace of God, I got an opening. I think it was about 4 months after I had finished campus.
Mm.
So November 1999, I started off as a bank teller. I know some people don't believe that yet with the so-called positions that he's mentioned. Yes, that's where I started off as a bank teller, counting cash. I got to appreciate what it meant not to have, and yet you're counting so much of your employer's money.
Yeah.
What it meant not having rent or transport home, and yet you have millions around you.
And of course, this is when you have already given your life to Christ, so you,
Yes. Yes. The beauty about these jobs is that they test you.
oh yeah,
You get to appreciate what it means. Before you start signing the billions,
yes,
you need to be tested in the little.
yes.
And trust me, I was tested. And thank God I came out faithful.
Amen.
I mean, there are particular scenarios where you are really broke and this customer comes and has overpaid you and they don't know that they've given you more money than they have put on the slip. And that's where the decisions were being made.
The still
The,
small voice.
yes, the whole bit of no, give him back what belongs to him. And the Lord has been faithful, I should say.
Wow.
And subsequently, I was in Nile Bank then moved on to Barclays, still as a clearing officer, low level. I joined the finance department in 2003 as a junior officer at that point in time. And trust me, I rose through the ranks. Quite an interesting journey. But that also meant that I needed to improve myself. Right after I had settled down in my job, I had to embark on SCCA and become a qualified accountant, which I did for 4 years. I also had to sort out certain aspects of life
Yeah.
called marriage. In that process, I did get married to just try and ensure that everything is more or less fitted out.
Oh yes.
And I think that was a very important decision
Mm.
because I should say dating was quite expensive and I needed to settle certain things. So with that in place, I was able to start working on my career as I sort out things and finished SCCA, started going through the ranks. Subsequently, I started my MBA at Oxford Brookes, as you mentioned. And I have been doing quite a number of trainings just to try and ensure I improve myself. I've just completed a training with IMD in Switzerland in leadership. So clearly, learning and trying to improve yourself has been part and parcel of my career journey.
Beautiful. He mentioned something very, very, very important. Personal improvement. Being intentional about personal improvement. Before we delve so much into that, I would like to request you, Wana Michael, roll the tape back to 18 years ago when you said you've been married 18 years ago. When you wedded, what was the kind of environment? What was it like then when you compare it with the events that we have today? As a matter of fact, when we talk events today, we know there are youths who strive to impress and then get into loans and then they start their marriage life on hard rock, and it's never an easy place. And so I thought that Michael, who with 18 years of experience in marriage, could throw some little bit of light on that before we proceed to being intentional about continuous growth in life.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much for that question. I think the aspect of marriage was clearly defined by the fact that I had known Christ.
Mm.
So I got my wife Apofia was in church. She was leading a fellowship at that point in time. And trust me, she just made a small statement that she was comfortably single. And I followed up that statement. It's 18 years down the road. But you've talked about events and what are some of the things. I think it's important that just as then, we live within our means. I should say that I was just starting off my career and I didn't have so much. It was important for me to, kind of start humbly. Anyway, there's nothing much to boast about from my family background. So I purposed to live within my means. What did that mean? I left home. I left my mother's place 6 months before our wedding. And I had to reorganize and try and kind of get my place because we are getting married. So that helped me quite a bit, do a bit of saving. I could not afford a car at that point in time. And I think the focus at that point was to try and keep up, live and keep it simple. We actually got our first car when our daughter was born. That is probably about 1.5, 2 years into our marriage. But what did that mean? I still particularly remember this fine day. It had rained. My wife was expecting. So we go through the bruises of going through the mud to the stage and then getting into office. And one of the ladies told me, hey, you are dirtening our carpet. I think it's high time you got a car. And by the way, the people you are supervising actually have cars. I think you need to seriously think about it. But honestly, I didn't have the means. Yes, the loans were there and I could try and hustle, but I could not afford, with the fact that I was still improving myself with SCCAs, trying to sort out and just trying to land into this aspect of marriage and starting off a young career. So I had to wait until that point where I could afford a car. So what am I speaking to is the aspect of living within my means, starting off small and gradually getting to where you can afford, where the Lord has led you. So that has been fundamental in those aspects of growing up. So it helped me in terms. So even to the marriage, the wedding day, a simple. We also try to focus so much on the after marriage. We got so many people to speak into our marriage. So the focus was
on
let's
the marriage,
invest. Yes,
not
let's
the
invest,
wedding day.
Exactly. So we invested in the honeymoon. We invested in the home arrangement, and I should say the people who contributed did the wedding, and that was the philosophy that was running through my mind as a result of the help, the advice I was getting, which was really good. And I should say it was a very great decision I made.
Wonderful story right there. We are here at Michael Segwaya's home, just in case you just joined in here. And this is Ask the CEO program that runs every Thursday from 8 to 9 p.m. Here on Church of Uganda Family TV. So before we took a turn off, we were talking about being intentional about continuous growth and improvement in life. We're going to take a very, very small break and we will return. When we return, Mr. Michael is going to be telling us a little bit more about that being intentional so that it can maybe resonate with someone who is out there watching us. We'll be right back. This is Apollo Sabiiti, your host on Ask the CEO program here on Church of Uganda Family TV. We'll be right back. Welcome back from 2 grueling years of lockdown. It has not been easy, but God has given us the strength to make it through. We have stood together as one family. And as a family, we have shown how strong and resilient we are. Now at Church of Uganda Family TV, we pledge to strengthen your family
by giving you the best in family-friendly content that you and your family can enjoy together.
Our focus is to keep you inspired, educated, and entertained with quality programming that encourages the moral, social, and economic development of you and your family.
We also make sure that we keep you informed on current issues and information on topical issues. We bring you up to date with matters that God has planted close to your heart.
It's a new year, a new dawn, it's a new day. Let's stand together. So join us as we grow together as a family.
Do you know that you can now enjoy great enriching shows anywhere through the Family TV app? Here is how to download it. Open Play Store on your phone. Search for the Family TV app. Click Install. After installing it, open it and enjoy enriching content anywhere, everywhere, anytime. Family TV, enriching lives.
With 200 million people aged between 15 and 24, Africa has the youngest population in the world. This can either be an opportunity or a ticking time bomb. At Young and Flourishing Hub, we seek to turn these numbers into an opportunity for Africa to become a global leader. Join us every Monday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. only on Church of Uganda Family TV as we take you through the discussion of different topics that will enable you to become world-class leaders and mentors, grow your finances, and become world-class innovators. Young and Flourishing, transforming Africa.
You're watching Ask the CEO here on Family TV, Church of Uganda Family TV, and I'm Apollo Sabiiti, your host. Our guest tonight is Bwana Michael Segwaya. We've heard a lot about him. Just in case you're tuning in for the first time, this happens every Thursday from 8 to 9 p.m. Now, you talked about personal growth, investing, continuous improvement, and we would like to get that bit about your life, Mr. Michael.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm going to talk about my growing up and how that has also helped me in terms of where I am today.
Yeah.
So earlier on, I did talk about the fact that my mom used to bake cakes. I actually did my first fully end-to-end wedding cake when I was in S2. So I still can do that up to this day.
So it's not a thing of gender.
No. The beauty about my upbringing was that you are meant to do everything from the kitchen to the farmhouse. So it didn't matter whether you're a boy or girl, and the beauty, I say the beauty because I was the firstborn, so I had the chance to experience everything, and that really made me who I am. So we did. Baking means you have to work late in the night, you have to put in that extra mile. Part of growing up also meant we needed to look after chicken, and my father was the first person to do chicken parts in Uganda, and that meant that you could spend maybe 48 hours without sleep, and that built resilience in me. It built resilience, it built hard work, it built the ability to connect dots, because after you've killed the chicken, you have to ensure that they are delivered in time to the supermarket or to the restaurant in which they were going to. and that was important. So as with that background, the mushroom background, with all that hustle coming to the bank, and the fact that I had to make choices around should I get a car, should I do SCCA, and you choose SCCA to ensure that you improve myself, to increase your chances of getting further up,
Yeah.
gave me the ability to connect dots, to work harder, to be more resilient when there are tough times. I should say in the bank twice. I came in the morning and went back the following day. And that is an aspect where you need to deliver is something you need to ensure customers meet what they are supposed to be, or different stakeholders, whether it's a report, just to try and ensure that things are going on. It's that focus, and that focus comes from my background. So that, together with the fact that I chose SCCA, I chose to do an MBA, I chose to improve myself, collectively gave me a better opportunity to connect dots, to find solutions at the workplace. And that's how I have been able to grow up my career through the ranks, patiently waiting, ensuring that, you know, I learn what I am supposed to learn, I improve my gaps, I am self-aware that these are areas of development, to try and ensure that I'm able to progress. I should say, by the way, I did not have a form of godparent or godfather in Absa or Barclays then.
In today's language.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the way I got into the bank, I just sent my CV to a corporate director in Barclays then that I have never seen. And lo and behold, they called me later. I did research around the bank, and I was very eloquent in the product knowledge of the bank, probably even better than the people who were interviewing me, because I had done my research, I had gone to the website. So I gave it my all to try and ensure that I progress in that interview, and that's how I joined the bank. So what am I trying to say? In whatever we do, it's important that we give it our best shot, we excel. And those are the things that have seen me grow, those are the things that have sustained me, those are the things that have facilitated me to enjoy the job, because I see challenge and I see solution, and I look forward. I can't define my day at the bank. I can't say that I'm going to do this. It changes as we go along, and that's the beauty about it.
I was just about to ask, what does your typical day looks like? I will just assume that thought was never perceived, and then we will proceed. But it is a beautiful story. If you are watching us, if you just joined in, this is Ask the CEO. That happens every Thursday from 8 to 9 p.m. here on Church of Uganda Family TV. Now, we would like to hear from you. He is the executive director at Absa Uganda. Definitely, we will not expect you to know about maybe too much about the recruitment process of the bank. This is handled by an entire department. But true enough, you must have, in the 20 years, dealt with close, probably customer issues, high end, probably. What thing about attitude of your juniors or people who work under you that you think the youth need to rectify, to change their mindset about? Because like we said earlier, the intention of us bringing you these top executives from all walks of life on this program is that they may help someone out there to trigger something in their minds, awaken the sleeping giants, open a whole world of possibilities when they listen to your story. With 20 years of experience, you have all the moral authority to say, in the banking arena, this is wrong, this is right, this is authentic. What are those things that you believe that youths need to work on, not just to be who you are, to turn out like you have turned out, but actually to be better citizens of the land wherever they are today?
Thank you very much for that question. I think two things for me. The first one is hard work. Um, we need to give it our best. We need to give it, it's more or less hard work and excellence, ensuring that whatever we do, we have given the best effort. We are excelling. And this is premiered by the fact that, one, there's a lot of competition. And today, competition has changed. We are not competing amongst ourselves. We are competing on a global stage. And we ought to know that, even in form of education. So it's important that whatever we do, we able to give it our best shot. We are providing solutions. And there's a tendency to whine, there's this whole bit government yet Yambi and that kind of thing. And yet the solutions are actually with us. This country is very beautiful. We have a lot of land out there. And there are so many solutions that we can come up with in terms of solutions. So hard work is quite critical. And from a banking perspective, it's important to appreciate the person before you, the customer before you, because we're growing up in a society which calls for fast food, fast everything. We are ordering online. We want to have that food instantly. You can't wait. Everything is so fast.
Yeah.
And that also comes to the banking world.
They need fast services.
The solution has to be fast. So if you pause and don't think about what that customer is experiencing, you're probably not going to lose it and you go laissez-faire mode. So what am I trying to say? It's important that we provide our customers with the right customer experience, doing it right the first time. And that calls for a lot of attention and focus in what we are doing. And to me, that's something that we have seen at Absa, and that's how we have seen business grow, especially when we did the brand change. I think a lot had been talked about, a lot of anxiety, but we have actually seen a difference. We have seen the balance sheet grow, we have seen more business come to us, which is fundamental. And at the end of the day, if we think through and think about our customer and serve and purpose and try to meet their needs, business will become attractive in whatever we do.
That is very, very, very beautiful. He talked about doing it right. Do it right the first time. The first time. And like they say, the first impression is always a lasting impression. Thank you so much, Mr. Michael. Now, we will be talking about what is your view? What do you opine? What is your view about the transformation of Africa? And what is the role of the youth in this transformation? I know you already talked about hardworking, being excellent at whatever we do. Is there something else we can plug in that plugs into, finally, the whole ecosystem of the idea of Africa's transformation as a continent?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think as you talk about transformation, it's important that we appreciate the environment around us. I walk around in a number of these malls. If you've seen quite, and I'm not just being pessimistic out of COVID, but the truth of the matter is the world is becoming a global village. Today, if I want a suit, I can order it online and it will be here in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If I want a book, I can listen to it in the next minute. So clearly, in between there, so many things are going out of place. When I was doing my master's, I was there and all of a sudden guys were like, do your research now, I want it tomorrow. And for me, I came from a background of moving around with questionnaires, hard copy, and giving people. And my colleagues had a chance of knowing Survey Monkey and all these other things, and sending the questionnaire on WhatsApp and getting a response and having the report come through. Just think about how many jobs have gone. So what am I trying to say? If we get to appreciate the environment, the fact that it is changing, it will cause us to focus. And for me, the answers are in what we have today. What can we have? What can we sell? What can we sell to the world? What can we sell as a family, as an individual? What has God given us? There are people who are selling services today on YouTube. They air out something. After a day, they have 50,000 viewers, and YouTube is paying them some money. Clearly, that shows that they have gotten to appreciate how big their market is. And all they need is to ensure that they can provide a product that is of substance to the world. I did talk about the fact that we have very good land, very good climate. As we talk about climate change, we are still seeing green around us. How can we position ourselves in such a way that we can tap into that green? One of the things I'm trying to do around is trying to see how best can I grow something, plants. I'm a very keen person with plants. How can I improve them? And if you look at the water that goes by, are we tapping into this? We have the sun, and yet you have a bill from Umeme. How do we ensure that we tap into and save some costs? So what am I trying to say? The opportunities are with us. We need to think through and look. From the Bible, it says, He will bless the works of our hands. So clearly the answer is in our hands. Okay? He's going to bless the works. So it's clear our hands ought to be working. So what am I trying to do to the youth today? We need to ensure that our hands are working. We need to think. We need to challenge ourselves and looking at the opportunities available for us because they are there, and get to know that it's actually a global village. It is indeed a global village. We should be able to sell something to the outside world. Today when I go to Amazon, I'm able to see mats being sold on Amazon. I'm happy that one of the MPs in the West was able to kind of link up and say, look, let's have a channel of just sending out the mats and ensuring that they are available. What can we sell to the outside world? And that question has to be asked at an individual basis. What am I selling? Today I'm selling a service to Absa. I'm selling a service wherever I am. As a family, what are you selling to the outside world? You encourage a trade, whether it's coming up with port or whatever it is, you should be able to sell something to the outside world. And that goes on to the nation. What are we selling? I also challenge my brothers, my family around me. If we've got idle land, we've got some land around, how can we make it useful? How do we ensure that when it's hot, we have pumped water from the ground and are able to water the plants? Because those are the things, those are the solutions we need to come up with. If you look at some of these countries, very hot areas, and yet they are the best agricultural countries. I think the solution is with us. We need to think and work and focus more on those areas that improve us than the luxury things, the nice iPhones. I love them, but they may not add value to your pocket.
Thank you so much, Bwana Michael. This stands out for me. The ability for us, for the youth, to appreciate the environment, and the million-dollar question that he puts across here: what do we bring to the market? What niche do we have? What special thing do we have, do we bring to the marketplace? And he says this is not just an individual question, it's a question that needs answers even on a family level. It can be transposed onto the national level. As a country, we know agriculture is one of our strongholds, really. What exactly can we bring to the world in that arena of agriculture, and many, many, many more. Now, I have one intriguing question I would like to ask to our guest, to ask our guest tonight about. And he's been talking, hardworking, pretty much the whole time. We have a crop of youths, Ndugu Michael, who believe that hustling for 20 years, having to wait for 20 years to be who you are, is only a folly. Rather, they believe that you can become who you are overnight. In fact, some have tried to polish it a little bit to call it fake it until you make it. And they do not believe in putting in the work. I would like to request you to shed some more light on how important it is for this hard work coupled with consistency and being, you talked about being resilient and the relentlessness to know this is what I want and this is the hurdle before me. I must flip over this for me to get where I want to be. What is that message that you would like to put across to the viewer? And I request that you look straight into the camera and say this in bold. What message is it to someone out there who thinks there is always a way around not working hard but still emerging, you know, they say that the end justifies the means, you know, and what is your message to the youth out there who is watching you tonight in that regard?
Thank you very much for that. I should say we've talked about hustling, and you may be out there, you don't have a formal job like I do, and you're trying to make ends meet. I should say there's light at the end of the channel. And I'll share this. I've got a brother. My mom passed on, and we're doing this cake business. For those who have heard of Rumi, it's just opposite Capital Shoppers. It's Ruth and Michael, and that's how we started that business. Today, it's fully fledged, handed over to my brother. And he started off hustling just after his S6. Today, he probably may be churning out more cash flows than I have as a bank executive. And what am I trying to say? He's seen that expansion. It's been hustle and working through. So if you are consistent, you purpose to meet your customers' needs, you excel, you surprise them, you evolve. Today, customers are not on a phone call. They are on Facebook. Are you evolving to appreciate that that's how deals are coming through? And that's where the self-improvement comes in. So I want us to work hard. I want us to work smart. I want us to connect the dots, to appreciate the changing times, and ensure that we're able to sell something to the market. For those who are in office, the story is still the same. It's still hard work. There's the whole aspect of honesty, integrity. I usually tell people that in Uganda you can find all kinds of degrees, but you may find very few people with the right degrees that are able to keep money or to be as honest with things as they ought to be. And to be, that's the scarce resource that is required. Are you that scarce resource? So what am I trying to say? Work hard, keep honest, connect the dots. By connecting the dots, I'm talking about be solution oriented. Don't wait for government to yambe. Don't wait for who. The solutions are with us. God created us with a brain, and He gave us hands, and we can definitely make the change and be the change in what we ought to be. I can assure you, I have seen it through 20 years. That consistency, that challenging yourself every day, surely you will see results, and the God we serve will see you through. Thank you very much.
Wow, beautiful nuggets from the executive director at Absa Bank Uganda, That is in case you joined in after he did his introduction. It is also, I should say, a beautiful story from someone who once did mushroom farming to supply restaurants around town, and now is one of the top executives in the Ugandan capital. And I hope that shades of some positive energy to you who just joined us here on the show. It is Ask the CEO, and I'm Apollo Sabiiti, your host. Remember, we do this every Thursday from 8 to 9 p.m. Now, you said something that for you, dear listener, a youth out there, for you to be able to stamp yourself onto the map of the world, for you to be able to cause a change, then there must be something special that you're bringing to the table. In fact, he said, you must be solution oriented. And that reminds me of a phrase I like to listen to Les Brown. He says, imagine being on your deathbed and the ghosts of the dreams, of the projects, of the aspirations, of everything you would have loved to do are standing right next to you. And they are saying to you that only you could have given us life. But none of those ever took off. And now we will die with you forever. Gone case, chapter closed. If you and your brother had never set out to do that bakery, we wouldn't have that sweet aroma as you drive by Capital Shoppers. He talks of his brother who probably has more influence than he does someone of his caliber, but just because he had a dream and he pursued it. I hope this is an inspiration to you who is listening out there. It may not be financial, it may not be a bakery, it may be something that is only you can give life to. And this is what Mr. Michael is trying to say, that we are blessed with God-given talent. Each one of us, wherever you are, you have God-given talent, and unless you exploit it, there's a special, unique idea that is with you and only you, that if you do not exploit it, then it will die with you forever. And by that, you would have denied the world of your genius. You would have, if you never pursued that, you would have denied the world of your explicit, amazing choice of cake. And that's the only way we can change this world. In this era of immense competition, accelerated change, and overwhelming complexity, you must be willing to bring something very special to the marketplace. This is Ask the CEO. Once again, we bring you top executives, we bring you proprietors every Thursday here on Church of Uganda Family TV from 8 to 9 p.m. And my name is Apollo Sabiiti, your host. Now, Mr. Michael, before we close, we would like to hear, in case someone just joined in, missed probably the better part of the show, what are those pillars of a talk? If you were to package the evening talk into a format of pillars, what are those things, just to resound them to the viewer, what are those things that you would write out in bold to a note, a memo to some youth out there who is viewing us tonight?
Thank you very much for that question. As you heard, my story has had a lot of hustle, probably a lot of hard work, which has fronted excellence But I should say that I think one of the defining moments of my life was the fact that I did accept Jesus Christ as personal Lord and Savior.
I was going to ask that later. What was that life-changing moment? Some prefer to call it, what was your aha moment in all this? Please take us down that journey.
Thank you, thank you. Yes, that story starts off by, joining Makerere University and, I'm getting to know the corners of Kampala. And trust me, I visited the Angenois silks of this world. But fast forward, 23rd December 1995, I think it was about 22nd, a friend of mine called Gordon is involved in a car accident. The sister dies immediately. Gordon is in hospital with the dad. Fast forward, a day later, Gordon is also dead. So at the burial of Gordon and the sister and the father being smuggled from Mulago, I saw it all. Two people that I knew being buried, and we had been together with Gordon the last weekend of the term at campus in Angenois then. And clearly God was telling me, you need to do an about turn there. Gordon has lost his chances, and I don't know if he sorted it out with the Lord, but I still had a chance, and that transformed me. What did that mean? That instead of me looking out for going for a nightclub, different things, I had to focus on reorganizing myself on the principles of God. How has that affected me? I did tell you of the challenge of being a teller. There are very many people in the banking world that have failed that test. And if you fail the test in the banking world, you never work in any bank in Uganda. So that's part of the sieving criteria to get to the top. Before you start signing off billions, can you afford to be faithful in the few millions that you're given? Before you start, making a few checks or a few written instructions, can you make sure that you're faithful with the physical instruments called money? And that's how God turned those things in my life. With the hard work, with the faithfulness, just trying to ensure that, yes, you're responsible with so many resources. It doesn't mean that you go and, show everybody that, I am the one. And that probably has given me the aspect of just ensuring you're content and knowing that that is a job God has called me to do, and it should not change who I am, but keep God at the center of it all. So what am I trying to say? God has been fundamental in my progress as a career. The hustling has brought excellence, hard work, perseverance, resilience to try and ensure that even when things fail, I push. What I did tell you about is that when I was doing SCCA, I failed quite a number of times. And there are times I feared just opening that email to see my results. But I purposed that I needed to sit at least one paper each sitting until I ended. I actually only passed when we were getting our daughter. And I was in hospital with all that hassle, and I went to do exams. I don't know how I passed, but I passed. What is the point? Keep at it. It may fail, it may be tough, you may have lost money. Please keep at it. I do believe you're going to succeed. Keep the resilience, keep the hard work, and excel. The sky is just the beginning. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Michael. In his words, he says, on the 23rd of December, just a few days before the year draws the curtain, loses a friend who had also lost a sister. Must have been an agonizing season for the family, and that was his turning point. Isn't it amazing how God uses the rough patches of life to drive certain points home? It is sometimes in those moments that many people have had their turnaround moments, and probably if that never happened, unfortunately it did, we probably wouldn't be here with a certain Michael as the executive director of Absa Uganda. And so we hope that this delivers a message to someone who is listening out there, but also he resounds and he says this in bold, that if you keep faithful with the little, if you keep faithful with what someone else would call the small detail, sure enough, in the right timing, God is going to lift you. God is going to cause you rise through the ranks like he did for him, and you will be seated at the table of grace. Well decorated, it's just grace that gets you there, and all you have to do is to keep faithful in the little, the small beginnings, the slow starts that God would have given you in life. And with that, we say thank you so much for watching the show. It's Ask the CEO. Once again, it happens every Thursday from 8 to 9 p.m. My name is Apollo Sabiiti, your host for the show. And once again, I would like to represent you in case you have some warm words for this gentleman here, fine gentleman, for all the nuggets that he's shared with us. I know I've asked a lot, but if there's one thing that you would just like to leave with the listener, just one thing, one phrase, a parting shot that you would like to leave with someone out there before we wind up with the show. Please, Mr. Michael.
Thank you very much. Friends, keep going on. The solutions are with us, and God will take care of those dreams. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I believe that this school of thought is shared across the world, that nothing has happened to you or nothing will happen to you that will go to waste. Everything that happens to you, everything that happens around you, ultimately has something it is going to change on you. All this is working together to form a character in you, to build a character in you, to build the you that you are supposed to be. So when the rough patches of life come, when the tides come, when sometimes even the dreams come crashing, hold on, hang in there like they say, and like he says, God has got you. You will make it, pursue those dreams, your aspiration, and we hope that with that, we'll see you next time on the next episode of Ask the CEO. It happens every Thursday from 8 to 9 p.m. Thank you so much. It is me, Apollo Sabiiti, and until next time, have a good night.